Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Here's the true story of Air Blue Flight 202 and how the captain's words caused the loss of life for all 152 souls on board. When the captain and the co-pilot got to the airplane that day, it was obvious it was going to be a challenging flight. There was terrible weather, mountainous terrain, low visibility. It was going to be a challenging flight. They were ready for this. But what the co-pilot wasn't ready for was an interrogation. The senior captain, the pilot on this flight, had lots of years of experience, and for some reason, he was feeling cocky that day, and he decided to basically interrogate his co-pilot, first time they were flying together. And he asked a series of increasingly difficult questions about flying, kind of snarky gotcha questions designed to make the co-pilot look stupid and, I guess, make the captain feel better about himself. Well, you can imagine how this played out. The co-pilot basically shut down and became increasingly uncomfortable, embarrassed, and just sort of took a passive role in this conversation. Now, how do we know this? Well, unfortunately, these words were preserved on the cockpit voice recorder that they found after the crash. As the flight wore on, the visibility got worse, and the captain became more and more arrogant and actually started doing things his own way and violating clear policies of the airline that they were working for. Now, the co-pilot should have stepped in when the pilot made some of these foolish mistakes and did some careless things that really put the whole flight at risk. But remember how the first half of the flight went. Would you have wanted to challenge this arrogant bully captain that's flying beside you? So he kept his mouth shut. He did ask a few questions, but it was clear that he was unwilling to directly challenge the captain at this point in the flight. Eventually, in bad weather, they flew right into the side of a mountain, and all 152 souls on board were lost. It's a terrible story, but think about your situation. Now, your office maybe isn't 30,000 feet in the air, and you probably aren't responsible for the lives of 150 people right behind you. But think about the power of your tongue. If you're constantly criticizing your people, you're never satisfied with what they do, you're constantly pointing out the things they do wrong. Think about the effect that that has on them and the kind of culture that it creates. Maybe that's your team, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your spouse. That kind of an environment is not where people show up to do their best work. It's not where you get the best performance. It's certainly not where people go to thrive. That kind of an environment causes people to keep their heads down and just sort of tries to stay out of your way and not make you mad. I don't think that's the kind of company that you want to create, not the kind of family you want to leave. It certainly isn't mine. Remember that words are meant to encourage people and build people up. Words should be constructive, not destructive. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. If you found this helpful, like and follow for more, or visit growwithtim.com.